Welcome to the Marketing Department LV.com webinar, Get Your Marketing in Motion. This is part of the series that is focused on getting some kind of traction in your marketing in order to get moving. Then you can measure, you can track what's going on, you can adjust, but you first need to get your marketing in motion. So this entire series is focusing on small steps that you can take that don't require a lot of investment of time, energy, preparation, just to get in motion. And so here's the Marketing Department, LV.com homepage. Click on webinars, and you can see the entire series. And you see we have a pretty substantial series from our team that spans a whole lot of different specialties in marketing, and each person has given their best wisdom in how to do a few simple actions, how to take a few simple actions in their area, whether it's video or PR, web design, how to take a few simple actions in order to get your marketing in motion. And today's webinar, we're looking at Stan Shields, who is going to present how to create and automate a lead capture and nurturing system. Stan's going to put a number of really valuable actions on your radar and give you an entire plan that will help you to create and automate your lead capture and nurturing system. And so I click on that, we go to Stan's page, and in this webinar, okay, these are some of the things you're going to learn. Why consistent contact and client follow-up is vital to the growth of your business. Why businesses fail to consistently follow up with contacts and clients. And how overcoming this challenge can set your business above the competition. How to automate your follow-up so that it happens even while you sleep. You're going to learn the key to an approach that will help you bring your email marketing to a new level. And you're going to learn about internet funnels, how they work for you like your own personal online sales rep. And the benefits of attending this webinar: by the time you're done this morning, you're gonna know how to consistently follow up with all your business contacts, converting a greater percentage to new clients. You're gonna promote greater client loyalty and retention. You'll accelerate the growth of your business and spend less time doing marketing and more time serving your clients. So a little bit about Stan Shields, and you can actually click on his bio here. Stan is a proven expert in helping organizations grow by systematically implementing tactical organizational and database management practices. For example, Stan grew a 40-member, 8K per month martial arts organization to 250 members and 40K per month by creating a seamless flow from first contact through client acquisition and exceptional customer service, all the way to repeat and referral business. So this gives you an idea who you're talking to here. And Stan is going to reveal some of the secrets that he uses to grow an organization that you can implement in your own business.
All right, so we're going to talk about lead capture and nurturing systems. And some people might say, well, why do I need an automated follow-up system, right?
Yes.
And that's the big piece of what we are going to talk about today, if I can get my PowerPoint slides to actually change.
They're moving.
There we go. Now we're moving. So why do I need an automated follow-up system? Well, I was at an event just, I think this was on Saturday. And, you know, what was really interesting at this event, and so this presentation is really geared towards the small business owner that likes to go out and do events, or the small local business owner that is not using some kind of an online capture system right now. Most local small businesses are not using any kind of an automated system. In fact, the thing that I see the most with local small businesses is they will print out a form, or they'll just take a piece of paper and they'll write name, phone number, email across the top, and they'll capture the information that way. Now, some of them get a little bit more sophisticated with it, and they create a little form, a little slip of paper that a person can fill out for them, and they're able to then capture the leads in that mechanism. Now, I took this picture. I took several pictures, but I just chose this one because as you look at this picture, none of those booths that we can see in this picture have any kind of a lead capture system at all. So none of them are capturing leads in any form or fashion.
You don't even have the fishbowl?
No, they didn't even have the
cards?
fishbowl. Nothing. There was absolutely nothing. Okay. And so number one, that's the biggest problem right there. Okay. Now, as a kind of a side note, if you also look, you see most of the people are behind their table, except this lady right here. Can you see where my cursor?
Yep.
The cursor circling this lady?
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
She is standing beside her booth. Now, the space was very tight in there, so not everybody could stand out in front of their booth, but that's where you should be if you're doing one of these local events.
Absolutely.
In front of your booth, or at the very least, like this lady did, you have to be maybe on the side so that you're not behind the table. The table creates a, right? And you want to eliminate that barrier for people to do business with you. So this lady is doing it right by standing out front. To my knowledge, though, I don't believe she had any kind of a capture form, right? But the other thing, too, that's really interesting here is all of these businesses do not have any kind of a, what we're going to call a lead magnet or bait for people to give them their email address, phone number, and so forth, right?
Yeah, they're going to sit there all day. They're going to have people pass by, and maybe they'll connect with one or two people that day, but they're going to miss a whole lot of opportunities.
And they're going to make some sales. This young lady that was right here was right next to me. She made her money back with the sales that she made. She's selling soap, bath bombs, and a variety of products along that line, right? Now, and there were a lot of people that stopped and had a conversation with her, but she did not capture their information. Now, she had her cards on the table, and some of the people took her cards. However, that does not give her any kind of a mechanism for reaching out to the people that did stop by, that were interested but maybe didn't buy that day, or that did buy that could be a potential customer for the future, but she has no way of reaching out to them, right?
And so that's an investment that just, she lost a lot of opportunity.
Well, you lose some opportunities on that, right? And so now the people that do, they use pencil and paper, right? They just simply go and they will capture the person's email and email, phone number, name. Well, there's a couple of challenges with it. I said 2 challenges with it, but there's really 3 or more. And that is, number one, half the time you can't read the handwritten information because the person writes it and they write it kind of fast, and you just can't read what they wrote. So therefore you lose out on that particular name, that particular information. Then, the person spends a day or 2 days out at an event like you just saw in that last slide, and they're out of their office. So they're not doing all their normal work. They're not doing their follow-ups and you name it. Then when they get back to the office, they're trying to catch up on some of the things that they didn't get done. And quite often they just run out of time and they don't follow up on those leads that they get. And And then the third problem with it, which we're going to talk a little bit more about in just a minute here, is that there is, even if they did follow up and they made that first phone call, they didn't have any additional follow-up going on, okay? And that's where the biggest challenge comes in. And so I'm going to share some statistics with our people. 80% of sales are made somewhere between the 5th and the 20th touch. Now, David, you and I have been working together for a little over a year, so you've heard this from me a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
I keep finding more and more evidence of this and more statistics that just continue to prove this, okay? Now, so I said what I said up there, 5th and 20th touch, but most sales reps only reach out between 1 and 3 times. Now, I'm going to show you some stats there that kind of speak to all of that, okay? Now, here's another one of those challenges. 48% of most sales reps never follow up at all. Now, we've all experienced that, and unfortunately, all of us are guilty of it, okay, because it's happened. And sometimes it's because you lose a contact, or you put it someplace and you didn't have this automated system in place that would allow you to make sure that you follow up with it, but it's kind of happened to everybody. Now, 25% of salespeople only contact the person twice. 12% only make 3 contacts. And only about 10% of people that are selling stuff will make more than 3 contacts. And so if you're quitting after just a few contacts, you're making a crucial mistake with regard to the sales process. And here's why. 2% of sales are made on the first contact. So that's not a lot, right? And so those are the people that are that's the low-hanging fruit, so to speak. Those are the people that were out looking for your product, but not everybody is going to be in that stage. In fact, most people are going to be in a different stage. They're going to be in a later stage. Only about 3% of sales are made on the second contact, 5% made on the third. 10% of sales are made on the fourth contact. So now look at that number. I mean, that number jumped quite a bit between that third and that fourth contact, but 80% are made somewhere between the 5th and the 20th contact.
Mm.
So when I talk with people, I say to them, look, at the very least, if nothing else, make sure you've got at least 5 contacts in your system, because it puts you a little bit closer. And I'm going to show you a chart that will actually kind of just bring all of that to light to make a lot of sense. In fact, I was just working with the owner of a software company, HR company. And as I showed her this chart, that chart's I'm going to tell you that, and I'll tell you the story. I showed her this chart, and it was just such an eye-opening thing that she just went, oh my gosh, all right, I need to do something about this. So at any rate, the effective lead follow-up system, it becomes critical. So it's not just a nice to have, it's something that is absolutely critical. And here's a stat that most people don't know, that if you were to, and the web leads part is not the part I really intended for this, but the second part, but we'll talk about both. When you get leads from the web, if you've got your website, or you did something on social media, whatever, if you follow up those leads within 5 minutes, you're 9 times more likely to convert them into business. And here's the part I really wanted to show you, and that is that companies that nurture leads make 50% more sales at a cost that is 33% less than nurtured leads, okay?
Not nurtured leads.
What's that? Than non-nurtured
Yes.
leads. Okay, so here's this chart. This is a chart courtesy of Microsoft, and it's pretty amazing. When you look at what's happening here with the contacts, they say 50% of salespeople have given up after the first contact, right? And at the second contact, 65% of salespeople have given up. After the third contact, 79% of salespeople have given up. And now at the fourth contact, 89% of salespeople have given up, but you harvest the low-hanging fruit if you're the one that is making that fourth contact, because now you're getting those people that were so close and ready to buy, but those other people gave up, right? Fifth contact, you're just now becoming a factor in the prospect's mind. You're just really learning who you are, what it is that you do, and it's now getting to the point where they're thinking, oh, okay, I may want to try and do something with this person, right? Number six, the sixth contact, you're slowly nurturing the prospect, they're getting to know you, you're building your case, you're building the know, like, and trust factor, right? Because that's what the thing that we really have to get to for people to buy from us is we have to get them to this point of knowing, liking, and trusting us. Okay, so contact number 7, now you're getting to be top of mind for them. Contact number 8, you're probably the only person to make 8 contacts with this person. And number 9 is at this point is when your prospect is ready to buy. You have a 90% chance of being called. You have a 90% chance of being the one. And so 10, 11, and 12, all you're doing is increasing your value to that person and becoming that top of mind person that now they're the ones that you're going to go to. Now, you know,
I've got an example.
What's that?
This. I've got an example of this, a direct
Okay.
example that we both are familiar with.
Okay.
You and I met an attorney at a networking meeting about a month, 6 weeks ago. And he was very interested in marketing. I know you reached out to him at least once or twice. I don't know how many times. And I reached out to him 2 or 3 times, no answer. Okay, so we're at 5 there. I met him at another networking meeting, and he said, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I wasn't getting your messages or something. He had something going on in his system. So we arranged a meeting finally, and I met with him yesterday, and there's a good chance that we'll be doing some marketing, and I'll bring you in on that as things develop to the point of automating systems. Right now, he just wants to get his website created. So, so anyway, that was probably about 7 contacts, and needs to be one more contact to actually get something started. So
there you go.
Yep.
There you go. It is, when you start to look back at the people that did come on board and did start to work with you, if you actually go back and look at how many touches did it take to get to that point, you'll find this plays out over and over and over again. Okay.
Yes.
You think about your own purchases, especially if it's a significant purchase, rarely does anyone make it on that first contact. You tend to do a lot of research and evaluation and, comparisons and all of that before you actually make the final decision on what it is that you're going to purchase, right? That's just kind of the normal sales process. And so this chart is just very eye-opening, though, in terms of understanding that kind of that customer journey down that path and how that really works, okay? And so now, so you probably, or people watching this would probably say, okay, I get it. How do I follow up? I don't have time to make phone calls all day, right? So how do I do this? Because that gets to be extremely time consuming. So the answer to it is email and text messaging. And I'm going to share today, you haven't heard this whole part, David, so this is a little bit new for how I'm going to deal with this. But
awesome, looking forward to it.
Couple of things to look at here. Email. Now, a lot of people will say, well, yeah, email's dead. Nobody opens emails. Nobody reads emails. To the contrary. And so email is still the #1 way to stay in touch with these contacts. Now, so when you look at this, you see that for every $1 you spend on email marketing, you can expect an average return of $42. So that's a nice ROI for using those emails for follow-up. here's something else that should put people's mind at ease. Welcome emails have a bigger response than maybe your typical emails or some of those emails that are caught in the middle. The welcome email, gets an 82% open rate. I mean, that is amazing, right? And so if you're creating your lead capture system, then a welcome email is a great thing to have in the mix to bring the person into your system. The other thing to keep in mind is that, emails are going to will help you to continue to grow your business. So 81% of small businesses still rely on email as their primary customer acquisition channel, and for an 80% retention for their clients. Now, this one's very interesting here. When you start to look at, SMS, text message marketing can be highly effective. Now, when you think about text messaging, this is really interesting. And this is where a lot of people start to want to go is, well, I just want to do text messaging because it's just better. Well, number one, it's great because customers have really opened up a lot more to the text messaging strategy, especially for sensitive information, special offers, important reminders, and updates. Now, I used text message marketing at my martial arts school. I used email, text messaging as a combination. That was before a lot of people were even doing that in terms of using both of them together. And that's what I'm going to share and talk about today. So according to Customer Think, more than 50% of customers would rather text than call. Now, you've probably even noticed that. You don't have kids, but I have kids. My kids are millennials, and most of the time, everybody is sending text messages back and forth, right? Even now, people are sending text messages back and forth. I prefer a text message up to a point simply because it is short and quick and to the point, and we don't get caught up in long conversations that take us way off of the topic. So a short text message is very useful from that standpoint rather than necessarily making a phone call. So I totally agree with that. And this says here, not only is text messaging preferred, but it can also increase the number of eyeballs that sees your messages. So sometimes the emails will sit in those email boxes for a while, and they may not go look at them, or they may just delete them. And you and I have had this conversation of, are they opening it, or are they looking at it through the preview pane, or are they not looking at it at all, right? So texting can help with making sure that a particular message does get to people faster. And then in an SMS comparison study, results showed that 98% of text messages are opened, and of those, 95% are responded to within 3 minutes. Okay. Texting is a very useful tool that people can use. Now, I love this graphic that I saw. It said millennials already get it. 75% of millennials prefer SMS messages for deliveries, promotions, surveys, all of those kinds of things, right? So why email and SMS works better together? And this is what I'm arguing is that, look, not only are we going to use the email marketing, but we're going to use text messaging in conjunction with the email. And so here's some bullet points that just help us understand why, okay, and why it works great as a system together. So that first one, email and SMS marketing work together to create a powerful customer experience. Now, it'll help to, if you can, and I'm going to give some strategies here of how to use them together in just a second here, but you can create personalized messages that leverage both tools. And I'm going to share with you, at the end, I use ActiveCampaign as the email platform, the database platform, CRM system that can actually send emails and text messages for you. And because you've got a database behind it, you can leverage the contact information that you have in a person's record, so that now as you create history and collect additional data with the person, now you can personalize both your emails and your text messaging, which now makes it much more valuable for the person.
Pretty awesome.
And then using your data, well, that's what it just says. The next one says that, right? So email deliver more specifics. And so I look at email and I say, when would I use email versus text messaging? I would use email to deliver more details, specifics. Might include graphics or video links and things like that. So it's going to be more in volume that I'm delivering in an email. Whereas with SMS or text messaging, it's going to be something that's short, to the point. It's going to be reminders, single item messages, or information updates, or things like that. And so it's going to be short, because that's what SMS is, right? Short message systems. So it allows us to get a quick message to people. Now, so what are the 5 reasons to combine email and SMS? 1, it's effective at getting your messages read. Number 2, everybody owns a smartphone, at least almost everybody. There might be some flip phones left out there, I don't know, but I haven't seen any of them in a long time. Now, the SMS is permission-based, and that's an important point to remember, that if you're going to use SMS for marketing, people have to opt into it. Otherwise, you get into some regulatory issues with using it. So you also make sure that they've opted in. And then you can use SMS to remind subscribers of the emails that you sent. And I think that's one of the powerful ways to use it, is that, if I sent them an email that's going to have important detail and information in it for them, I may send a text message right at the same time, or maybe I send it a day later, and what's great about a system, like an ActiveCampaign and some of the others, is that I can set that system up to wait a day to see, did they open the email and respond to it? And if they didn't, I would send them a text message that says, hey, I sent you an important email that has this, this, and this in it. Be sure to go look at it. And I've actually used that lately. I've used it, whereas I have sent people some information, and then I look to see, did they actually act on it? And if they did not act on it, I sent them a text message that said, and now I led them not to an email, but I led them over to Facebook to say, hey, I sent you some info, and I invited you to this group on Facebook. Go check it out. And literally, that does get results. It's amazing. So that is another one of those strategies, because think about it these days. People are so busy. We have so many things going on in our world that we're easily distracted from on just one platform. We're off into a million different things. So if I can get to them right on their phone to say, go look at this thing, then quite often that works for me, right? And then the last item there is SMS is always on, right? So those are maybe some of the strategies and some of the reasons of why to use email marketing and SMS, especially using those in conjunction with each other. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to talk about the mechanics of how do you set up this lead tracking system. Now, this can be done, some of it can be done, the basic part of it can be done in almost any email platform that you're on. You'll see ActiveCampaign references here, because that's the system that I use. And after having used several other systems, it is by far my favorite. It is by far the one that has the most powerful and most flexible in terms of creating workflows that match what it is that you do. So we'll talk a little bit more about ActiveCampaign a little bit later. But the very first thing is to create a form. Now, what I did is I created this is kind of my training test form that I have, that people can actually fill this out, and they'll get a sample of an email flow that will actually start to come to them that says, hey, email number 1, put this kind of information in it. Email number 2, put this kind of information in it. Email number 3, put this information in it. And from those emails, if they want to sign up for my actual newsletter, they'd be able to actually do that from the newsletter. So if anybody's watching that wants to kind of test it and see how does it work, you'll be able to do that. You can actually use the next screen will show you how to do it. Actually, you can go, you can click on the links, or you can just type those links in. It'll take you to it, or use your phone. If you have a Apple product, you can literally just go to the camera and hold it up to that QR code, and it'll scan it and bring up a link that will actually allow you to just go and log right into that, fill out that form, and then you'll be in the test database there. You'll see exactly how a lead capture system would work. And
if you have an Android, you can download a QR reader app. And
that's
so,
right. That's right.
Apple or Android, you can do both.
You can use it with either one. It's just sometimes, and many people have a QR code reader on their Android already. If you don't, it doesn't matter. I mean, you can get a simple QR code reader. There's a lot of them that are available. All of them, they all work pretty easy. And you can just, it only takes a second to download it, and you can scan it, and then boom, go, and you can kind of test it out and see. But so you create a form, you create the links. Now, I talk a little bit here about the raw link on ActiveCampaign is not that bad. It's typically, though, you will get a link that's much longer than that, and it is a pain to try and type all of that in and do that. But you can use a link shortener like Bitly or TinyURL or Google. Any of those you can use to shorten it. And I just read something recently that said not to use Bitly because lots of spammers and scammers and whatever you will use Bitly links. And so now some software programs are rejecting Bitly links. I had that before until just recently. That's kind of a bad thing for Bitly. They kind of created this whole concept in a lot of ways. But I like a tool called Pretty Links. And Pretty Links, if you have a WordPress site, Pretty Links allows you to create your own links that will continue to brand your site, your name, your business, whatever. And so I like to use Pretty Links to create any of my short links so that it continues to just brand StanInShields.com. Now, so that's how you get the form in the first place. Now, once somebody goes and fills out that form and submits it, you have two options really. When you're setting up your form, you can have it confirm each subscription, and that's called a double opt-in, or you can not have that confirmation screen show up. And so if you think about it, if I'm out at an event and I'm capturing leads and information there, I'm not going to use the double opt-in because that's just one more step that's going to confuse people and they're going to not end up in your database. So I would not use a double opt-in process out at an event for that kind of a thing. The only time I would use the double opt-in is maybe on the website or them subscribing to my newsletter or something along those lines. And that's because when you use the double opt-in, you create a higher quality list because they are people that actually want to be there. If you do not use the double opt-in, then you have a little bit lower quality list and maybe not as much engagement from the people there because sometimes they just do it for whatever reason and then they're just not all that interested. Double opt-in tends to get people that are much more interested. And then it'll take you to a thank you page. And so the thank you page can be something as simple as this, or you can redirect them to another landing page or to a page on your website. You can redirect them wherever you'd like for them to go. You can redirect them to your website so that now, as soon as the person has entered their information and you're at an event, now it will take them right to your website. So it brings up your website and shows them certain information. Okay, so
Very nice.
Another nice, useful tool that out of that whole email capture. Now, this is just one of the samples of the emails that if somebody fills out that form, they'll see this email in their inbox. This is what they'll get. And this one basically just says, and puts their name in there and just say, hi, ideally this email is the first email you'll send. And you're basically just welcoming your subscriber. You're introducing yourself and your business, setting the stage for what's to come in future emails. Tell them what to expect tomorrow or in the next email. It may not be tomorrow in your business case, and then you can link pages, websites, whatever to this, but this just gives you an idea of what should that first email look like to them. And this is what we call the soap opera sequence. And I'll talk a little bit more about this later. This came from Russell Brunson's book, .com Secrets, but this is a 5 email sequence that really helps to build the know, like, and trust factor so that they now feel good about connecting with you and want to continue to connect with you and buy from you. So as you can see with this, you'll see the day 1 email is kind of like the one I just read, the little points I just made, but it basically sets the stage. Day 2 is telling a story. You're kind of telling your backstory, and you're starting with something high drama. What wall did I hit? How did I overcome it? Day 3 is the epiphany. What's the big aha that I got? The one thing that I needed to learn or do or get that took me to the next stage. The hidden benefits of doing business with me. And then day 5 is creating some kind of an urgency and a call to action that the person going towards your products or your services. Now, this is a sample of one of those emails, and this was for the free travel portal that I offer that gives people up to 40% off. I send them a code that will give them access to this portal. And then what happens is, in terms of this sequence, is an email goes out, sends them the code. Then it waits for 2 days to see, did they open the email and click the link? And it will check that. If they did not open it and check the link, they get a second email that says, that's similar to that first email, but just gives them their information and all of that. Again, if they did click the link, they get a different email that says, congratulations, and so forth. And then it sends me a notification telling me that they registered and that I can go check. Now, anywhere in here, I could insert a text message to them. And I may go back and do that with this workflow, is insert a text message that the second message then is, after waiting 2 days, I check they didn't open that email. I may just send a text message that says, hey, remember to go check for that email with your code in it, right? And then I might wait another day or so and then follow up with a second email and so forth. But this process will just continue all the way down. So I'll wait another 2 days after I sent that email, and I'll check again. Did they open it? If they did, then it goes off to, yes, over here they did, and I'm going to go and send them the congratulations email. If they didn't, they're going to get a third email from me that basically gives another message and so forth. So any business could create something similar to that, or I can help them create something similar to that, that now will allow them to stay in touch with those people from that event. So if they were at an event, they collected the person's information electronically this way, immediately the person could get a text that says, hey, well, thanks for connecting with us. And maybe you offer some kind of a discount or a special offer to them for buying, like those ladies that were next to me that were selling the soaps and the candles and all that kind of stuff. Maybe they give them a 2-for-1 deal or something, right? They give them some kind of a deal for connecting with them. And you could even use those automatic email entries as a drawing. So you can use everybody that enters your email, use it as a drawing and give away a basket of something. And maybe it's going to be one person that gets to win this basket, right? But it all comes from them signing up for your email system or your texting system. So there's there's a ton of creative ways to use a system like this to now generate your list and to start building this prospect, this customer base as you're moving forward. Because they say that your list, if you can get to 1,000 customers or 1,000 people on that email list, that, you know, that each name on there represents, not doesn't represent, but, you know, that list should be the like $1 per name that's on there that you generate from those emails. And so most small businesses are not generating a customer list. They're really more focused on the today sale, not on generating that list. And so that's what I'm trying to help small businesses understand and do, is move more towards creating that customer list. Okay, so here's my information. ActiveCampaign is the system that I use and would love to help people build out a lead nurturing system if they need it. And, you know, or if you're not sure if you want or need or can use a lead nurturing system, just call me and we'll do a discovery call, or go to that link right there and set up a time. We'll do a discovery call, and yeah, you'll know within 30 minutes whether or not it makes sense for you to do something like this. With ActiveCampaign, if you use my affiliate link right here, what that means is that if you purchase through my link, I do get a small commission at no additional expense to you. It's the same price whether you go through my list or not. I'm sorry, go through my link or not. But if you go through that link, you get a 14-day free trial, and ActiveCampaign starts as low as $9 a month with an annual program. And if you go through that link, I will also give you an hour consultation on setting it up and helping you answer any questions or creating a strategy behind it and so forth. And if you'd like to know more about the soap opera sequence or the daily Seinfeld sequences of how to write these email series all the way out, .com Secrets goes into a lot of detail to explain all of it and just exactly how that whole process works. Okay. Any questions?
Marvelous, Stan.
Or comments?
Yes. Well, one thing that I would say immediately is what you're talking about is basically the equivalent of hiring a salesperson, only it being automated and maybe more effective than a lot of salespeople that a business could hire. And so I just encourage people, listeners, to follow up with you and to benefit from, you know, this amazing automation that you've shared. Now I've got a hard stop. I've got to run now.
Okay.
But I just wanted to underline that, and also just say from my experience with Stan is that, you know, you look at his automated system, and when you look at automated systems, you often think of impersonal, and Stan is anything but impersonal with the clients that he works with. He gives a lot of personal attention. He not only understands the automated, you know, the automation, but he also understands business. And if you're going to set up a system like this, the system itself is not going to do the job because it's just like an empty shell. You need the wisdom of someone who understands business, who has applied this and worked out all the kinks, and just will take the time and give you the attention to understand your business, your goals, and customize this automation to your business. So I would say that, you know, yeah, you could sign up for ActiveCampaign. You could go ahead and do your free trial, but I'd really encourage you to accelerate the process. by working with Stan, because if you just jump into an ActiveCampaign, believe me, it's like learning a whole new technology, and you can get lost in that technology and lose sight of your purpose and the message that you want to communicate. But with Stan helping to guide the process makes all the difference in the world. So I just wanted to make sure people understand that, Stan.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay.